In 1953, Theodore Waddell wrote a parable called Pentecost Effects. It is a story about a small community on a very dangerous seacoast. The waters were notorious for shipwrecks. One day, a group of folks got together and created a life-saving station. They would volunteer to man the small hut that they built and look out for ships in distress. So they built the rough shack, put cots in it, and looked out a lookout tower. Day and night, they watched the dangerous seas. Over time, they saved many lives, and the corps of volunteers grew. As time went on, the members of the life-saving station became unhappy. The rough accommodations were not pleasing to their eye, so they built another station next door. This one was much nicer. Cots were replaced with beds, carpets replaced with floors, and the furniture was very well appointed. Everyone loved the new station. However, now that the station was nicer, more people wanted to join the club. They liked being together, but volunteering to help watch out for ships was not as important as before. And so they hired crews to do their work for them. One night, there was a terrible shipwreck, and the paid crew rescued many and brought them to the station. The members came to help out, but were horrified to see that the people who were rescued were wet and muddy from being saved. They had ruined the carpet and soaked the furniture. The next day, a meeting was held, and the members decided to build a shower house outside the main building so survivors could clean up before they entered the nice station. This was also at the meeting where a large number of members voiced an end to saving ships. It was too costly to the club to have to redo everything every time there was a shipwreck. They paid to save people from waters was also too expensive. But a smaller group wanted to continue the original mission of saving people. In the end, the large group won, and the smaller group left and built another station up the coast to continue the mission of saving people. Unfortunately, in just a few years, there were another disagreement about their mission to save people, and that station split again. It happened over and over and over again, so that today, as you drive up the coast, you see many life-saving stations that have been abandoned. Shipwrecks still happen, but most of the people just drown. I found this story the other day as I was going through some papers, and I couldn't help but make a connection to what we see going on today. The cry, it's the economy, it's the health of people. If I don't work, I can't feed my family. I can't be concerned about others if I can't get out of my house, and on and on. What is the response of people of faith? How should we maneuver through this epidemic? In the gospel reading for today, Jesus is beginning his farewell discourse. That is, he is trying to help the disciples understand what is coming down the pike, and he wants them to be as prepared as possible. Imagine, if you will, for a brief moment, what has been going on. In just a very short period of time, the disciples went from joyous living as they entered the city of Jerusalem to watching Jesus nailed to a cross, to seeing him after his death alive, to now being told they can't follow him where he is going. How confusing this must be, maybe even frightening. The one they depended on for so long is now leaving. We find ourselves in somewhat of the same position as the disciples. Our world as we knew it has been turned upside down. We are told to stay 6 feet away from anyone who does not live with us. We wear masks when we venture outside, and gone are the days of going to the movies, restaurants, hair salons, and even churches. The unemployment rate is unprecedented, and there is no silver bullet to stop the virus. Some of us are without food, work, income. Yet we battle a real dilemma, a virtue that has the power to take lives without judgment. How do we respond? What does our faith teach us? Jesus begins with, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me." Jesus is reminding us he was in the beginning with God, creating and breathing new life. If you believed in God, believe in Jesus, because they are the same. Remember the opening of the Gospel of John? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. God came to us to live among us. This is the reminder Jesus is giving to the disciples. This reminder is a gentle one, full of love and hopefulness for the disciples. Next, Thomas wants to know where Jesus is going, and Jesus responds with, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father." Who is Jesus? Jesus is love, breathes love, and lives love. If you know Jesus, you know love. This is a powerful gift Jesus gives the disciples and to us. To know Jesus is to know love. To not love is to not know Jesus. My friends, in this world that is turned upside down, the one truth we can hold on to is that Jesus is love. And to love Jesus means we must love one another. This is so important because it speaks to how we treat our neighbor, even when we disagree. Some of us want to get back to work because we need to feed our families. This is a truth that cannot be denied. Others want to follow the guidelines set by the medical experts that best protect our neighbor and ourselves so that we can emerge from this time of sheltering healthy and whole. How do we mesh these two camps of thinking? We listen. We listen to one another and move as we are able to move as a community dedicated to serve one another. Believing in love is the heart of the gospel. It is the heart of the great commandment, to love God and our neighbor, just as faithfully as we can. This is the only way we can find our way forward, to live with one another in the wholeness of God's love.